Hello and welcome to a Soda's Hero Spotlight with me, Whale Tits, this time featuring Lord.Zyrkhan. Why LZ? Well, the latest hero Tassadar will probably be going under revisions in the coming weeks, as he was tossed out in the public somewhat incomplete in the hopes of getting some public feedback on him. So, if you haven't already, hop onto the forums and leave us some feedback in the thread link below. Now then, let's get started with LZ's new 6.0 skill set. The first questions that probably come to mind from 4.0, 5.0 LZ players is, why the change to a skill set? Well, LZ was originally slated to be one of the heroes available back when 6.0 was originally launched. However, he was repeatedly demonstrated in alpha testing to be ineffectual and a complete detriment to almost any team comp. His old skill set just didn't have a place in the game anymore. So let's get on to his new skill set then. LZ's heroic passive, Charisma, is pretty much what it was in previous versions, and is still the absolutely phenomenal aura that it was, granting him and nearby allies 10% damage resist. Relatively speaking, this passive completely negates both Raynor's and Rory's heroic passives combined. It helps to make LZ very tanky from the start, and is part of the reason I almost always lane LZ as a support in the side lane. The more allies near you, the more use you get out of this passive. LZ's Q, Overdrive, grants him additional move speed for 5 seconds, up to 50%, as well as debuff immunity for the duration. Shriveled, press Q. Molotoved, press Q. Stuck in Kerrigan's ult, press, wait for it, Q. This skill is how you get into, around, and out of fights. It is almost always the first skill you will use as you death charge through the enemy team to trap their squishies within your ring of death. Therefore, I get this skill second, and I max it second. LZ's W, the unaccurately named Immortal Solace, as it no longer summons immortals, was LZ's 4.0 5.0 ultimate, and it's actually been significantly buffed since then. The skill creates a ring around Zyrkhan that now follows him, dragging anything within it along for the ride. Note that the skill does a total amount of damage instead of a set amount to every target. Multiple targets will split the damage and will each take significantly less damage than if only one target was being hit. Also note that the ring opens up as LZ moves. The faster he moves, the more likely a unit will be able to cross through the ring. Immortal Solace has amazing utility, as you will see, and proper and creative use of it will distinguish good LZs from bad ones. As it is the only real damage skill in LZ's arsenal, I take it first and I max it first. The damage from it in a 1v1 situation is higher than Boros' Spellstorm. LZ's E, Tenacious Fury, is a great auto-attack passive. Similar to Tychus' heroic passive, this grants LZ a stacking attack speed buff every time he attacks. However, more importantly, it also grants him damage resist. Between LZ's heroic passive and this passive, Zyrkhan can easily be sitting at around 30 to 40% damage resist in the middle of teamfights, which is absolutely huge. During laning, you will often only be engaging when the enemy is trapped in your ring, and you should be able to rely on your lane partner to kill them. So I don't find this skill very useful until teamfights. Therefore, I take it third and I max it last. Finally, LZ's ult, Heart of Ire, is an amazing team support skill. On top of a mana cost, the skill consumes a percentage of LZ's current health, up to 25% at max level, and shields LZ and nearby ally heroes for a 175%, and 125% of the health lost, respectively. This skill is what makes LZ such an amazing support tank. He can literally protect everyone on the team at once. Used properly, this skill can quickly change a losing fight into a solid victory. As with all ults, I take this skill every level that I can. For talents, I'm fairly certain that this is a bug, but you can now run a 10-15 build because this requires 4 points. It actually does not. It now requires 3 points. I think something is wrong there. For all of these require 4 points, actually it only requires 3 points. Obviously, running 10-15 is much better than running 11-14 because 1% spell resist is laughable. I take Enduring Pulse over Merit because the health regen in lane is amazing. As an LZ, I intend on taking as much of a beating as I can in lane to save my lane partner. So, health regen, obviously. As for Commitment, as the tank, obviously I'd rather not be dying, and as a tank I shouldn't be dying, but if anyone is dying in a team fight, it should be me, right? So it's always nice to have that extra respawn timer because, you know what, someone's going to die in the team fight. Timescale as well is great on LZ because well, you're entirely cooldown dependent on your Immortal Solace and your Overdrive, as well as obviously your ult. So it's always nice to have the extra timescale. Of course, health overall synergizes perfectly with your high damage resist, so a talent build that maximizes health is the best build for LZ. For items on LZ, I usually start with the Sustainer Space Battery Lane combo. From there, I build into a Core Hall Vanguard because it offers everything that LZ needs and is really cheap. It gives him health, it gives him physical resist, it gives him spell resist, and then even more damage resist. And it's in an aura, so it combos perfectly with your heroic passive. Following a Core Hall's Vanguard, I often like personally to build a Kala Stone. Why? Because it just makes you such a perfect bait hero. With the unique of Kala Stone granting you extra strength for every 2 seconds you spend in the battle, your health regen is phenomenal, and with such a high damage resist, you can comfortably run around at very, very low health and be confident that the enemy team will not be able to kill you, but at the same time bait all of their skills. Following this, I finished my Eon Crystal, as to me it's absolutely vital on LZ to have that Eon Crystal, the double ult, the double overdrive allowing you to get in and then get out of a fight in emergency situations. And from there I can either build a Force of Entropy or a Coat of Arms depending on what my team needs. If we happen to have an auto attack hero that's doing really well, I'll get that Coat of Arms because it will help him out greatly. Or if I just need to be tankier overall and our team's not doing so well, I'll probably get a Force of Entropy instead. From there, I will build the other item because obviously I want both of them. This is my final build, as you can see. And then I'll grab a Pyre because, well, if they're trapped in that circle with you, you might as well be killing them as well. Finally, I will replace my Core Hall Vanguard with an Electric Mantle. For boots, I almost always get Void Steppers, unless I know that I'll have to be responsible for a good amount of damage on my team, in which case I would justify grabbing Morphing Boots. Laning phase with LZ depends very heavily on your lane partner. LZ himself can't really hold the lane. His only damaging skill does less damage the more things it's hitting, so if he's hitting a bunch of creeps with it, he can't really do anything. Therefore, you have to rely on your lane combos. People who combo well with LZ are any heroes that benefit from holding another unit in place, holding the enemy in place. This includes heroes like Tassadar, who can just channel their drain on them, Jackson, who can also channel his beam on them, as well as Rory, who can land a Molotov, or Boros, who, if you trap an enemy and the Boros, he can get his Spellstorm to do full amount of damage, which is absolutely devastating. Important in laning with LZ is, again, realizing how tanky you are, and trusting your teammate to be there to do damage. Like, right there, you saw the Kerrigan was around full health, and I had like 15% health, and I had no qualms about running in there and trapping the Kerrigan, because I knew that my teammate would be able to put in a good amount of damage, and that I highly doubted that Kerrigan would be able to kill me. And if I'd been there a little earlier, we probably could have killed her there as well, but unfortunately we didn't. Here in this example, you'll see how your tanky talent build, as well as your passive, and just the overall nature of LZ's character, will allow you to just stand there and take damage, which is, your job in a fight. I'm going to run in here and pull the Kerrigan out, just so, because I'm fairly confident that we can put in more damage on her than she can put it on us, and despite having 2 drains on me, where only one of our Tassadars was draining the Kerrigan, we get the Kerrigan kill and I'll get away fine. And that's something I see a lot of LZ players would back out there, like when they think, oh no, I'm taking damage, but realize that as the tank, if you're taking damage and it's allowing your ally to get damage off, you are doing your job correctly. Something you must always do in laning is to look for that opportunity to trap one enemy hero and one enemy hero alone in your W. Our task falls low, but I notice that I can get their Tassadar, and I know that Fumbles has his drain on off cooldown, so I run in there and I trap their Tassadar alone. He's taking massive damage from my W, massive damage from the drain. We get a kill despite the fact that just moments ago our Tassadar was running for his life. I mean, just look at this beautiful and entirely infuriating and probably pretty OP combo. WW gets swapped in. He gets trapped in between the two draining Tassadars. There is absolutely nothing he can do about it. Free kill. Woohoo! Nerf that. One thing I didn't mention in those past 4 little laning segments is baiting into the tower with LZ and laning, which is very powerful. I have a health potion on me, I vitalize, so I'm going to let myself fall pretty low. They shrivel me, or murder bullies me, which is kind of nice. But I'm low enough that they're going to continue chasing me, and I'm going to let myself get pulled in the end. I vitalize at this point, and I realize Quisman has gone close enough for me to drag him to the tower, and that is a first blood. Of course, this is I would say it's a more advanced technique just because you need to know exactly what the limitations of your character are, otherwise you're just going to give them first blood. Again, one thing people tend to severely underestimate about LZ is just how much damage your max level W does. That's 150 damage per second if there's only one target in. Here, Rancor snipes me out of his cloak, so I know I've got quite a bit of time before he can cloak again. And I'm just going to tank his auto attacks while he takes damage from my creeps until he falls low enough that I know that I can just trap him in my W and get a free kill. And take Quisman. It seems once again my spotlight features your Rancor dying horribly in a fire. You mad, bro? Scale of 1 to mad. How mad? Another thing you have to do as Zyrkhan, you are a tank, and if you can, try and distract the enemy, or try and save your teammates. Tassadar falls low, so I'm just going to run in there even though I'm also low and try to drag them his way as far as possible, and then make my merry way out with my Q. And wait, what's he doing? Oh god. Oh god. He can't even let me save him properly. Oh, what a fail. Good job, Fumbles. MVP. So, let's get on to the team fights with LZ. If you'll notice in this particular game, the score is really even. It's 8-9. They're a little bit ahead of us, but far more importantly, they are 3 towers ahead of us, which is around, I'd say around 6 to 9 kills in worth, so they're actually quite a ways ahead of us in this game. They're pushing bot. The Biotron's here somewhere, I know that. We see the Rancor, he's cloaked. Biotron's going to be burrowed, so he's going to be cloaked. And here's a DARPA cloaked, and there's a Toxie. So I'm going to stand up here building my Kala stacks, which will give me some more health. While I try to bait their initiate, they take the bait, and they start dumping all their skills on me, the tank, which is always a mistake. Torcus is dropping free nukes on it, Toxie ults, but I can just counter that with my own ult. And we get a free and easy 3 kills. We shut down their push bottom, and the momentum of the game starts swinging into our favor now. One thing I notice with a lot of LZ players is that they really underestimate how tanky they are. There's 5 people top, and really it's just me, Drake, and our Tosh who's coming up defending against 5. And we're just going to go ahead and take in as much damage as we can while our Tosh makes her way over here. And I ult, of course, we're absorbing all the damage. I see the Terrazine, and I trap 3 of them in it. And this is going to end up being an easy... we're going to 3v5 them and get 3 kills for no deaths. And as you notice, despite starting that whole fight and just being in there at the beginning, taking as much damage as I could, I'm still at full health. And that was 2 kills, and you'll see the 3rd kill down here with, I believe, Biotron. Now, take this following clip as rationale as to why to use Ehon Crystal. Our team is a little fed right now, and at this point, LZ fed, you really can just do whatever the hell you want. If you notice, I just waltzed in there in front of my creep wave and initiated with my face. And so far so good. I'll speed this up a little while we fight around the tower. And our creep wave dies, and they have 2 allies porting in, so most of my team backs off. I stay in a little bit longer. And then our Tosh gets pulled out by Tassadar, so I'm just going to run in there. I know I have double ult, so I'm going to bubble her in with me. I was actually hoping to get her outside of my bubble, because now she's just running around in circles. But either way, it's all good. I use my 2nd ult, and she's still pretty much at full health. She's taking damage now, but she'll live the fight. And I'm continuing to just Falls deep. Just go in. I'm gonna push the Kerrigan away from her tower so we can kill her as well. And, yeah. And then continue taking the tower. Because you know what? That's what I do. So in this scene, we realize it's really quiet on the map when we went back to buy, and so we figured that they're trying to take Levy, and I know I'm the fastest hero, so I'm just gonna run there as fast as I can. We see they're focusing down. I'm just gonna run in there and bait as many skills as they can while my team groups up. I managed to get the Toxie ult on me, and I managed to get the micro throw on me, both of which are gonna be vital in this team fight. They continue to focus me, and I'm gonna fall kind of low. And I'm going to use my ult just to get myself even lower so that they're going to continue to focus me while the rest of my team swoops in. I know they have Levy, and the only way we're going to win this fight is if they don't actually attack our auto-attack heroes. And here you see DARPA focusing me. Rancor, who was coming to kill me, gets caught by Shadow and Tosh. Hydrogen, probably coming in to kill me as well, gets caught. And so does the Micro. And so even with Levy, we win that fight because I managed to bait all their skills. So, in summary, that's pretty much how you play LZ. You tank everything and watch as the rest of your team kills their team and does not die. Just does not die. Granted that the game is a landslide in our favor. All I had there was boots, an Ehon crystal, and a buckler. That was tower diving into a T3 against a full health Kerrigan. That should not happen, I think. But with LZ, it's possible. That's how you do your job as LZ, that's how you win as LZ. And of course it always helps when you have a Rory who goes Pyre, but you know. GG. Peace out.